nerds, this is Gabby and it's time for my March wrap up. So this is my last wrap up. So I've decided this is gonna be my last monthly wrap up because frankly I'm reading too much. Talking about 13 books in one video, trying to make it concise, is just not working for me. I'm not having fun making such long wrap ups. I feel like I can't really talk about the books. I feel like I've forgotten the books by the end of March that I read at the beginning of the March, so I can't really talk very passionately about it. And decided let's get rid of that, make everyone happier, including me, mostly me. So this is gonna work kind of like recent reads slash mid-month wrap-ups. So I'm thinking I'm gonna wait till I read about 6 books and I'm gonna go do a little wrap-up. I'm hoping this will be like bi-monthly thing, so I can do it around 15th and then around 30th, so I can really talk to you guys about the books in detail and have that little bit of passion left because I just read it. I really want to talk to you about, and I don't want to speed through the books. I don't want to feel like I have to talk about everything, so I have to just make it super short. So I'm just thinking this is gonna be a really good change. I'm really hoping this works. I mean, let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas of like how I could do it, but on Twitter people chose the recent reads kind of idea. Without further ado, let's go into this month because this video will be long because I read 12 books again. So first up we have The Selection by Kiera Cass. So actually I kind of finished it last month. It was like the last day, but it was after filming. The Selection tells a story of kind of dystopian future where America doesn't exist, but America is a kingdom, and Prince finds his wife by having a lottery, and then America, which is a name of the main protagonist, America gets chosen to be in kind of bachelor style competition for the prince's heart. So it's literally just a bachelor but in dystopian world. So this book I feel like gets a little bit negative rap because it's considered like guilty pleasure kind of read, and it was pleasurable and I don't feel guilty about it. I think there's so many words books. It was quick written, fast paced, the characters pretty well rounded. I enjoyed them. It really reminded me of Hunger Games for some reason, but like a cuter version. Not cuter, just like a less gritty version of Hunger Games. So if you're into that, I would recommend it. It's really short and I gave it 3 stars. Then I listened to Wishful Drinking. So it's a memoir by Carrie Fisher, who was an actress who recently passed away, and she was Princess Leia on Star Wars. And it's just kind of her story growing up, being a child of famous actress. I did really not enjoy this. I was listening to the audiobook. It was very short, 2 hours, but I kind of felt like, what's the point? I feel like it was really meandering. We didn't know what the actual point of the story was. It was just kind of her stories, her anecdotes, which it's interesting if you're really a big fan or something, but I'm not a fan, but I'm also not a fan. Do you know what I mean? I like her, but I'm not like a diehard fan, so I gave it 2 stars. I really did not see the point because I know she has another book that I heard is mostly the same thing. So then I read The Naming by Alison Croghan. I read this for Book Nerd's Choice for February. It's a high fantasy telling a story of a girl who's a slave, and one day she meets a mysterious magician type figure and gets swept away. It's a very good book. I really enjoyed it, and it doesn't read so angsty and modern. It reads more like a Tolkien kind of work. The magic system is quite complicated. I still don't really understand it, and the world also was quite complicated. But if you want to learn more of my thoughts, I'm gonna link the video where I've explained it in more detail. But I gave it 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. Then I read Silent Patient. It's quite a popular book on YouTube again. It's a thriller. It tells the story of a psychiatrist who encounters a patient named Alice, and Alice murdered her husband, and since then she has not spoken. It's been many years and she has stayed quiet, and no one knows why she did what she did, and he wants to uncover the truth of what happened. I really enjoyed it. It was a good thriller. It kept me guessing. It does remind you a little bit of Gone Girl kind of situation, but not exactly what happens, but more in spirit. Spirit kind of reminded me of that. It was a good thriller. I was not disappointed. I did not love it as much as everyone else because I only gave it 3.5. Next up I read Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, which is the newest book in her newest series in the Shadowhunters world, which tells the story of Cordelia, who grew up in the country but now she's moved to big city London to kind of get introduced into society. I've read basically all of Cassandra Clare's books. I enjoy most of them, and I would call myself a fan, I guess. I really wanted to see where it goes, and I like where it goes. I wasn't disappointed. It wasn't my favorite of her books, but I think I'm growing out of them a little bit. I have a whole book review / book talk for it, so if you guys want to check it out, I'm gonna link it up but that tells you more in-depth thoughts about this book. But I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars, and I think if you are a Cassandra Clare fan, you will enjoy this. Next up, I listened to the audiobook for Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. So this was like an rendition, an audiobook with full cast recording, and like it was kind of adapted for listening, so it wasn't like word to word, I don't think. I watched a TV show, and I gotta say, this was basically word for word from the TV show. So either the TV show was very, very accurate, or this took more inspiration from the TV show than the book. I'm not sure. It was amazing. The performances were just breathtaking. Everyone did such a good job. But I knew exactly what was happening and where the story was going because I watched a TV show. So it was TV show word for word. So if you watch the TV show, there's probably no point. But I still really enjoyed myself. I thought it was very, very well executed. I do think I might have been a bit confused if I didn't watch the TV show because there was not much description. It was just dialogue. I feel like that can get a bit confusing, but I did enjoy it, and I thought if you haven't watched the TV show, I would really recommend this audiobook. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. Next up, I read The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. So this is the third book in the Cloak of Air trilogy, which The Cruel Prince is the first book. I read this for a vlog that I'm not sure when it's coming out because it's a little bit of a mess. But let me just tell you, I was disappointed with the finale. I thought that it was so, I don't want to say lazily done, but at the same time, it was really very, very quick and too short, and I feel like it could have been way more developed. I enjoyed myself reading the book, but as a conclusion to the trilogy, so disappointing, so not satisfying. So that's my initial thoughts. If I ever make that vlog, I'm gonna link it up. I give it 3 out of 5. Next up, I read House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas, which is the first book in the Crescent City series, which is Sarah J. Maas's new adult series. Centers around this world, which is kind of like Earth, but all the creatures in it are paranormal. I mean, there are also humans, but everyone else is paranormal. And Bryce is one such creature. She's half fae, and one day her friends get murdered, and a couple of years later, when the person they thought responsible turned out not to be responsible, she is tasked with helping police find who did it. I have a whole reading vlog for this that tells you exactly what I'm feeling at every second. So if you want to watch that, I'm going to link it up. But I'm going to say I really, really enjoyed it. It was definitely the best Sarah J. Maas book that I read. I thought the story was well fleshed out. I really like characters. I really like the world building. I thought it was really well executed. While at the same time, I thought it was quite predictable and tropey, and I knew exactly where it was going. I wasn't mad at it though because it executed it so well. But I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars because it's good. Like, I would really recommend it if you're prepared for the predictability. Go watch my reading vlog. It has spoilers though, so be careful. Next up, I read Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. So this is the first book in Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which it's kind of historical fiction. It centers around a pair of apprentices to like a surgeon, doctor. I mean, they don't really have our modern understanding of medicine, so it's kind of different, but it centers around them trying to find Jack the Ripper, the famous serial murderer. This was a book that I predicted to be 5 stars in my 5 stars prediction videos, again up above, and I'm sad to say it was not a 5-star read. I am quite disappointed with this one because I did enjoy it, but I just thought it was fine. The mystery was fine, the execution was fine, the characters were fine. I'm probably gonna read the sequel, but there was just nothing that grabbed me, nothing that really made me devour this, nothing that really made me fall in love with the characters or really, really, really invested in the mystery. I just thought it was fine. I gave it 3 stars out of 5 because it was good. It was enjoyable. Did not become my new favorite, so I'm really disappointed, but I still think you should read it if you're really interested in like serial killers. Like I said, I had a pretty high expectations. I really thought I would love it, so again, decent, just didn't wow me. And I listened to the audiobook for The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab. So The Near Witch is V.E. Schwab's, or Victoria Schwab's, first ever published book, but actually when she published it, it didn't make that much of a splash because she wasn't as famous an author as she is right now. But they reprinted it and they had a new launch and everything because now she's so popular. So the town of Near never ever had strangers, but one day a stranger comes to town of Near and children start disappearing. So that's the gist of it. It's a standalone. I thought it for a standalone was pretty good, although I did not feel really connected to the characters. When I was listening to it, it was fine, but I never felt really engaged, or I was never like, oh my god, I need to keep reading. I never had that feeling. The audiobook narrator was okay, but again, nothing special. I thought the voices kind of came in and out so the characters didn't have distinct voices or anything, at least consistently. Not for me. 2.5 out of 5 stars. I still want to read more of V. Schwab's books because she's such a popular author. Everyone seems to love at least one of her series, so I'm waiting and trying to find the one I like. The next 2 books I read were for the Bookie Trials, Weekend Readathon, and I have a whole reading vlog for it, so if you guys want to check it out, do check it out. What I read was The Serpent and Dove and Daisy Jones and the Six. So let's talk about Serpent and Dove by Shelby Maharin. Serpent and Dove tells the story of a witch and a witch hunter who are forced to get married through circumstance. I bought this book as soon as I could, as soon as it came out. I think I pre-ordered it. I was so into it because witch and witch hunter, forbidden romance, just sounded amazing, like so right up my alley. And then like a lot of negative reviews started coming out, so I kept pushing it off, and I finally read it. I must say, it was not amazing. It's a 500-page book that really doesn't have much plot. It's mainly centers around romance, which I guess if you read the synopsis you would know, but I was still surprised how little plot there was. The world building was abysmal. I was gonna say it was fine when I was reading it, but when I stopped I kind of realized that it's nothing special about this book. It just kind of felt like reading this Sarah J. Maas story, but like worse. Which is accurate because I was watching Cindy's video and she was talking about how Sarah J. Maas blurbed this, and this author says that ACOTAR is her favorite book or series, so like it makes sense that this is a lot like Sarah J. Maas' works, but just not as good, you know. It makes sense, but it doesn't make it any better, you know. So 2.5 out of 5. Then I read Daisy Jones and the Six, which might be the most talked about book on BookTube and might be the most talked about book in terms of me wanting to read it by me. Again, it was my 5-star predictions video. I was disappointed. It was not a 5-star. It was fine. I forced myself to read it within a day. Bad idea. I should have listened to the audiobook like everyone said. This tells the story of a fictional band in the 70s and kind of the history of their success and then their breaking up. Well, it's told in a series of interviews which did not really work for me. I think it would have really worked for me on an audiobook, so that's on me. I didn't listen to people. Listen to people. They probably know better. I want to read it as an audiobook. But yeah, this story, there was nothing wrong with it. I was not deeply disappointed. I mean, I was disappointed, but I wasn't deeply like, there's nothing bad in it. I didn't think it was badly written. I didn't think the story was bad. I thought the characters were really good. I understand the themes and I empathize, but I guess I was just expecting this to be as impactful on me as Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was. And it's big shoes to fill in, and it's not probably fair on me to be expecting another book by the same author to do the exact same thing for me. But that doesn't change the fact that I did have really high expectations and that this not meet this, so I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you guys for watching my last ever wrap up. I'm thinking I'm gonna go way more in depth in my future wrap ups because they will be much shorter, and I feel like I can talk about books immediately and still have that, like, you know, that fire, that passion for it. So I'm really hoping that you're gonna watch my mid-month wrap up that's gonna come up in April. But thank you for watching. Let me know what you read this month. What was your favorite? What was your least favorite? Okay, let's choose my favorite book of the month, and that was House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. So yeah, I'm surprised too, okay? But this broke my heart. Go watch my video. I hope you're doing okay with everything that's happening. I don't talk about it much in my videos because I really want this to be a really positive and upbeat space, and it's also a place for me to go have fun and really enjoy my time during quarantine, if that's possible, because I'm making so many videos and I can be creative, which is great. But I know this is a really hard time for a lot of people, and I'm not saying it's easy for me. I'm feeling it a little bit. So all I'm saying is I really hope you're okay and keeping tight, and if you need anyone to talk to, just drop me a comment or DM me on Twitter or whatever you want to do. Let's like make bookish friends. Let's let's use this opportunity to make some bookish friends and support each other as a community, which we have been doing already, and I'm just so proud of you guys. And yeah, I enjoy being here, and I'm really grateful to have this because I feel like otherwise maybe this would be a bit much. But me having a creative outlet and feeling like I'm talking to people on a weekly basis and having Twitter, it's just been so helpful. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you watching, and again, I really hope you're doing okay, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!